Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm writing to Sadhguru at University of Michigan, Ross Building School, Youth and Truth, February 15, 2019. So a year before the big one. So anyways, thought I'd get back into this, at least this one, until we get through with it. Just curious as to see the progression of the questions, the progression of Sadhguru as well, and to see what people ask. I guess for the time frame, what is the questions at the time. So anyways, let's go and get started.
Good morning. Thank you for being here, and a very warm welcome to you. We're truly honored and privileged to have you here with us today. We'd like to start the Youth and Truth conversation with actually a conversation we had right outside a couple of minutes ago. And that would be that in the past couple of years, we've seen that change is coming in multiple forms, be it in education, be it in the job opportunities, be it in culture. Earlier, it would take about 20 to 30 years for us to realize and see this change, but today it's happening at a much faster rate. How would you suggest, or how do you think we as the youth should adapt to change like this and be prepared for it?
Well, I know I'm in a university.
Hold on, real quick. Quite a first statement. I mean, I don't know. It's really weird to just say that. It's like, yeah, of course you are, Sadhguru. It's kind of. I guess it's kind of like foreboding to say, you know, I know I'm in your house. Not to be creepy like that, but it's just like stating the obvious. It's kind of.
So what I speak is not against it, but it's something, as you said, change is coming much faster. So particularly educational institutions, whether it's school or college or universities, because largely till now, education has been a way of constructing a mindset. Depending upon where you study, everybody develops a certain kind of mindset. A set mind is a disaster. Maybe it is set for a particular purpose and it may serve that purpose. As you said, people are thinking education means employment. Education is not about employment. Employment is about survival. Education is about enhancement of the human being. A time is coming where this will shift in the direction I'm speaking very shortly probably, depending upon the speed of technological evolution. The speed of change in education has to happen. Well, all of you everywhere these days are talking about machine learning or artificial intelligence. I must tell you, my first experience of knowing that machines can do something like this. I was 13 years of age. It's not like today's 13-year-old who's got already discarded three different, models of cell phone or iPad and things like that. At the age of 13, for the first time, I saw a flatbed calculator. Okay. Those days, there were only two companies making it, at least they were the only two available in India, was Sony and Panasonic. Sony considered very expensive because it was 125 rupees, that means $1.9. Panasonic, you could bargain it down to 90 rupees. So everybody bought Panasonic. So somebody brought this to school and they just did tuk 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 into tuk 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 tuk. I said, immediately my first thought was, why the hell are they torturing me in the math class? Here there's a solution. And immediately my mind went into, why don't they have a machine like this for science and physics and chemistry and history and all the nonsense that they're torturing me with every day? After nearly 50 years or more, now that dream is becoming real. In the next 10 years, children can see there is a machine which knows more history, more physics, more chemistry than your professors and teachers. This is a great time because till now, in the name of education, we've been deceiving ourselves and everybody that memory is intelligence. This is not just in the university, it's gone in the name of religion, it's gone in the name of scholarship, it's gone in the name of various things. Essentially, all this means is, somebody got to read a book a few years ahead of you and suddenly he is a superhuman being. This will die soon, and I'm very glad, because now human intelligence will become valuable. Now human consciousness will become very valuable. How you are becomes more valuable than what you stacked up in your head. Because a small chip will know more than… your phone can do 10 PhDs a day. Yes, because that much can be stored. So we are mistaking memory to be knowing or intelligence. So time is coming where human intelligence will be of greatest significance, not memory. So education has to transform itself in this direction. So what this means is, we are moving from mindsets to consciousness.
Let me correct you there, Sadhguru. In the United States, we are deep into the mindsets, into a very, very close sheep-like, lemmings-like mindset. Lemmings. Sad. Very, very sad. Now, I don't know which one is winning, because there is obviously Advaita Vedanta, a lot of Eastern philosophy schools here, and hopefully still some Western education that is meant to make you think and open your mind and not have this mindset mentality. Mindset. Because as far as I'm hearing, it's terrible. Colleges are just teaching people to be sheeps. Although there are amazingly students there that they're smart enough to know to follow the sheeps, but not I guess there's not a good analogy for it, so let me just say what I was going to say anyway. In a sense, follow the sheeps without falling over the edge of the cliff. Meaning that they know to do certain things to fall in line to pass enough to pass, and then once they're out of it, they get out of that mindset. Whereas there are other people who fully go into it, even if that means falling off the edge of a cliff, because they're so deep into that.
Consciousness means it's not a fixed thing. It is not just flexible, it has no shape and form. That's where human beings need to go. Educational institutions should take that step first, because for probably last 300 years we've been busy manufacturing mindsets. For example, because we're talking about India here, I think. In India, still largely the education was designed by Her Majesty's Service, more East India Company, I would say. This education was designed in such a way where the cornerstone of education is obedience, not intelligence. I want you to get this straight. Obedience is the cornerstone of education process. If obedience is the cornerstone of education, this is a recipe for slavery. This is the trick of an occupying force. But we're still continuing that form of education for a variety of reasons, whatever reasons.
Interesting. I mean, he's not right. It depends on the let's say this, in terms of the obedience though, obviously obedience needs to happen, because you can't have a room of just people acting like crazy animals and trying to teach them something. They can't. They have to have some form of obedience. The problem is where you go from that, where you, again, like he talks about the mindset, whether we teach them to be lemmings and sheeps of a mindset, which then becomes slavery, or if we teach them to be open-minded. Obedience has to happen for the students so that they can listen and learn, um, and follow the instructions. But that doesn't mean be a sheep or a lemming. It means to be open, to be, how do I say, find alternative solutions, to find I guess it's really is the teacher that has to kind of provoke that from the students. Like, you give them a question that seems impossible to answer, but then you find students is like, this does seem impossible, but I think if we think outside the box, I think it's very probable that it could be solved. I think that's what teachers needs to teach. But I mean, I'm not a teacher, so I know certain schools, perhaps not college level, are very set on certain ways of teaching because it's kind of mandatory. Yeah, it's like you need to learn your 1+1s and two minus twos and all that. Obviously, there's just no other way of teaching those things. It's pretty straightforward. Whereas when you get to college level, there are certain straightforward courses, and there's also courses that are not exactly straightforward, are very subjective minded. But if you make a good argument for it, you can change people's minds on it. I guess it's a very fluid, subject matter.
So, the change is compulsory. Change is not an option. Those who don't change will fall on the wayside. Will we allow change to happen in a haphazard way, torturing people, leaving a lot of people out of it? Or will we do it in a planned, focused way and we execute change? Will we execute change by design or by default? This is a big question in front of us. I hope as a generation of people we have the sense to execute change by design, not by default.
Interesting. When you think of design, means everything is planned. When you think as default, it means whatever happens. I believe. So it's almost, I don't know if I'm maybe thinking too much into this, but let me know. Like, he's talking about how mindset, everything's structured, but design is structure as well. And then default is whatever happens, we can adapt to it. We adapt to whatever's going on, which is not by mindset, it's by adaptation. Adaptation changes. So it's like saying, don't be structured, but then we want to be structured. I'm not saying it's contradictory. I get what he's trying to say. It feels like it is contradictory, but again, it's all how the design is. You can have design to be a design. The design for colleges are to have lemmings and sheeps. That is design, but that's not the design that Sadhguru is talking about. It's saying the design to have people be open-minded, not to be sheeps. So there is a structure there, and this is what I'm talking about, where we need discipline, that structure, but it's where we go from that structure, that what people become, whether it becomes sheeps and lemmings, or whether it become open-mindedness and thoughtfulness and thinking outside the box, in a sense, where they're not always just, oh, I remember this from math class, 1+1=2. And obviously there's certain things that are just kind of, it has to be that way. There's no changing it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did I say something wrong?
So I tend to follow on the same thing that you mentioned, that the education system needs to be changed to adapt, in a sense that…
Why are you copying a question?
I'm not. It's not. It's… I'm taking reference though, but I take a note. So on the same note that education system needs to be changed, and it's more to say that learning and adapting, it's anyone's life's integral part. You need to adapt with how it's happening around you. Also, Charlie Munger said that human being needs to be a lifelong learning machine. You need to learn every day, every set of your rate.
Real quick, adaptation as well is, I don't know if Sadhguru is going to bring this up, but adaptation is the environment happens, then you react. The environment happens, then you react. Whereas the design is meant to be, we see what the environment's going to do, we do something about it before it happens. We see what the environment might do, we do something about it before it happens. So design, or being proactive versus reactive, I guess. Again, big words, whatever, but there are certain things that you can be reactive to or proactive to, meaning you can do it ahead of time. You can see it kind of coming. There are some things that you can't, and you have to be reactive to it, adapt to it, and it's going to have to happen before you can do anything about it, because either you didn't study hard enough, or maybe just something that no matter what you do, you just didn't see coming. Anything can be when you can see it coming. You can be proactive to it, or you can be reactive to it. If you're just reacting, that means you're behind the curve, behind the wheel. Not the right word. You're just behind.
You have mentioned that people or human.
Can I disagree with that learning business?
You can. You can. That's a view. It's more capitalistic view that you need to keep on learning and adapting what you're surrounded.
See, because your learning is establishing a mindset, now you struggle to adapt. I am not interested in learning. I don't want people to learn. I want people to become in such a way that they're perceptive, that they can see things as they are. Not because of their learning, simply because human faculty has the capacity to absorb a situation as it is if you don't have a fixed mindset. If you see things as they are, according to your intelligence and competence, you will respond. Why should you adapt? You just need to respond. This is the significance of being human, that we are the only creatures on this planet who have the necessary faculty to be conscious and to be able to respond, not to react instinctively. So, this whole process is an ancient mindset of we have to learn so much, what we have learned becomes irrelevant after 50 years, so we have to relearn and adapt. But that, as she said, is going to happen every 2.5 years now. What used to happen once in 50 years is going to happen every 2 to 3 years now. So when it happens every 2-3 years, you establish a mindset, you learn something, you establish a mindset, then you try to adapt to the next thing, you'll go crazy by the time you're 50. But if you keep your intelligence uncluttered and perceptive, you will know how to respond.
I'll say this, what do you call it? Oh my gosh, I had it in my mind and I lost it, I think. Anyways. Unclear, perceptive, crazy, 50… Oh yeah, I know what it is now. So I have… my mindset is it's multiple folds. And I've said this a few times in past videos, where I have multiple minds. And that's to say that I have my mind, I have an Advaita mind, I have Buddhist mind, kinda, don't really have much of that. I have this mindset mind, I have the open mind, and meaning that I have all these minds, and I can get the different answer from each mind depending on the question on mind. But it gives me different perspectives, or at least I try to. I'm not saying I have all those all the time. It depends on the situation. Maybe I just have my mind and that's all, which is most of the time. But whenever I watch these videos, I have my mindset, I have the Advaita mindset, well, the Sadhguru mindset. I understand what Sadhguru says, I understand what I interpret it as, and I understand in terms of Advaita Vedanta, and I understand it in terms of Tibetan Buddhism mindset as well. Not so much in that, because I'm watching only Sem's the only person I'm watching on in terms of Tibetan Buddhism, but I do have some understanding of that. I don't use that very much because I still lack I very much lack a lot of knowledge in that one. But in terms of the Advaita Vedanta, I do have enough that I can have that mindset. I have a basic understanding of it, so I can use that mindset. So it's kind of like, I guess, if you… and a great example would be, I suppose, if you watch sports. You have your sporting mindset, then you have a non-sporting mindset. So you can have multiple different ways of understanding, and it's a potentiality of thinking outside the box a little bit, too. And then you maybe have an analytical mindset, where you analyze certain things a little bit differently from a sports mindset. It's just an example, and that's how I tend to try to have a mindset. I'm not saying that I always have multiple minds every time a scenario comes up, but I do try to if it's applicable.
Okay.
So one of the questions that keeps popping up in everyone's mind is how do you define the clarity of purpose in your life? And that's something that you've probably been asked multiple times before, but this is something that we still struggle with. And we easily get influenced by people around us and get distracted from what we truly are passionate about. How do you recommend today's youth to be focusing on building true passion and also developing a clarity of purpose in life?
Oh, see, this idea that a human being has a purpose to his existence is a very tyrannical idea. The moment you have a strong sense of purpose, you are a natural tyrant. The question is only question of competence. There are lots of tyrants all over the place. There are lots of Mussolinis and Adolf Hitlers all over the place. Fortunately, they're impotent and incapable. Yes, there are
That's really weird to say, but I understand what he's saying.
lots of them. Don't think only one
think-
was born. There are lots of them. Fortunately, nobody has the capacity or the competence that those tyrants had. Otherwise, there are a whole lot of people with same intention of wanting you to be something other than who you are right now. So if I have a purpose to life, if it gets organized, it becomes a mission. Who the hell are you to have your own mission? You're here, you're just a pop-up on this planet, all right? You pop up and you pop out. Here, instead of doing what is needed most right now for maximum number of people, you have your own purpose, maybe God-given purpose. Whenever people say they have a God-given purpose, they have done the most terrible things on the planet. Now you don't like it, it's okay, but have they not? Whenever people said, God spoke to me, terrible things are coming. You can be sure about it. You heard these statements because you are trying to endorse your nonsense with some other authority from elsewhere. Why do you need a purpose? Life is a phenomena beyond your understanding. You're here to experience it and enhance it for yourself and everything else around you. That's about it. What is there for you to have a purpose of your own when you've not even figured out where it begins, where it ends? When you have not even figured out where this cosmos begins, where it ends, where you come from and where the hell you will go, how come you have a purpose of your own? You don't need a purpose, you just need sense. You need sense and sensitivity. And sensitivity will naturally come if you look at life as a more inclusive process. Right now, some studies in the last 2 days creating a flutter, I've been talking about it for last 25 years. Some studies say that in the next 5 years, the insect population is going to go down so dramatically that all agriculture on the planet could be seriously hit and food could become a great crisis. I've been talking about this continuously for last 25 years. People think worms and insects are no good. But I'm telling you once again, if all the worms die right now, in the next 14 to 18 months, there will not be a single life on this planet, including you and me. If all the insects die, within the next 2.5 to 4 years, not a single piece of life will exist on this planet. But if you and me die, planet will flourish. Yes, this is the fact of our existence or no? Hello? Whatever nonsense we think about ourselves, without human race, this planet will do great. But without worms, insects, microbes and various other creatures, this planet cannot exist as a life. So, our idea, the most destructive idea that's been put into human minds in the name of religion, philosophy and nonsense is that creation is human-centric. Creation is not human-centric. You are just a speck in this creation, you're really nothing. As I said, you're like, on your computer screen there are pop-ups. You pop up and you pop out. You think so much about yourself, but actually before you and me came here, countless number of people who all thought they are great people came and went. Where are they now? All topsoil. Yes or no? Worms are feasting on them, all right? But human beings, this is all it is. In this vast cosmos, This entire solar system is a tiny speck.
I'm sorry, I absolutely love that he said, where are they now? They're all topsoil. It's like it's such a disgrace, but it's true. It's freaking hilarious.
In that tiny speck, this planet Earth is a micro speck. In that micro speck, Detroit city is a super micro speck. In that, you're a big man. This is a serious problem. This is all because of our learning. Do you understand? This is because of our learning, because we've lost our sense of perception. We are not seeing things as they are. We are making up things in our mind in the name of education. It's time we come to reality. Once machine learning comes, your nonsensical learning will not mean a damn thing. Just because you read a book, you're acting superior. No, a 5-year-old kid will turn on his machine and tell you, here. It's a great time.
I'm not necessarily going to push back, but I do believe there is to have a sense of purpose is fine. It's all a matter of what that sense of purpose provides or does. If it's self-centered, then I mean, I don't know. To me, it's almost irrelevant to a lot of sense, because like Sadhguru was saying there, where even you think of a purpose that's grandiose, you're still just a speck, and there's nothing wrong with being a speck in this universe. So I think having a purpose is fine. We don't there's no set purpose for us, meaning that we create our own purpose. I mean, unless you talk about the extreme animalistic basic purpose, which is to reproduce and survive. That's it. Outside of that, we have no other real intent than purpose. So we have to create our own, and I think that's fine, honestly. But I mean, what you do with that purpose is all up to you. I think people find joy in purpose, kind of like people who are very religious wants to spread joy and God and all that, and they find that very happy for themselves, and that's fine, as long as, again, the biggest thing is not to cause harm to other people or not to force your ideas on other people.
So our next question is more to do with as we graduate from school and leave university and go into the corporate world, a lot of people follow their passion and take an unconventional
What do you mean? They get married, is it?
They follow their passion and take an unconventional path. My question is, should you do what you love or should you love what you do?
Should you do what you love, or should you love what you do? I guess one meaning that there's a job that you love, it may not pay a lot, but you love it. And the other one is a job that you could hate, but you should love it because it pays a lot. It's whatever you can do. Like, I mean, I've done jobs that I didn't like, but I found ways to like it. Like, one of the jobs I did was unloading a truck. Like, it was literally a truck full of stuff for like a store. It was hot, there's no AC in there, and it gets really, really hot and humid. And the only thing you got is a fan that's on the outside trying to blow air inside. And you're sitting there trying to put this box in this thing so that it can be, wheeled out. Labor intensive. Very hot, makes you very sweaty. Now in the wintertime it gets very cold, so if you're sweating it gets very cold. If you're not constantly moving, you're gonna get cold. But anyways, I look at the way I enjoyed it was looking at it's like, this is like a gym membership that I get paid for. So there's ways to look at things in different perspectives to make you enjoy what you're doing, as long as you can keep that mindset. This is a gym that I'm getting paid to do. But it's always arm day and never leg day.
You should not love anything. The important thing is you're just loving, all right? If you're right now loving, if you see the flower, you will handle it lovingly. If you see a man, woman or a child, you will behave lovingly. If you see a dog or a cat or even an insect, you will behave lovingly. Or if nobody is here, you will just look at everything lovingly. This is what is important for a human being. I love something is a vested interest in the world. They have caused immense damage in so many different ways. Well, out of this, many products fall out which I don't want to go into the detail now, but the simple thing is just this. See, follow my passion, I know it's become a very… what to say, in thing to say everywhere, I follow my passion. Your passion is destructive. I'm telling you, the important thing is, once you are enabled by education especially, if you feel education has been an empowerment in your life, you must look around, peel your eyes without any prejudice and see what is most needed and do that damn thing. If all this comes because you're trying to extract some sense of joy and satisfaction from the world, you have not understood that human experience essentially comes from within, whether joy or misery, peace or turmoil, agony or ecstasy, no matter what it is, human experience comes from within you. Is that so? Hello? Hello? It looks like I'm asking for a higher opinion.
The sad truth of the matter, a lot of people will just say yes because they really honestly don't know. Yeah, I mean… I mean, I think the Western world, a lot of people, let me just put it this way, needs an explanation what that means, that it comes from within. I think a lot of people think that, oh yeah, I can make myself happy by external things, and also include what other people do to me, which will also make me happy or sad. It's… they only understand like a very small segment of that I can make myself happy by doing things or external things, but…
Human experience, no matter what, madness or frustration or love or joy, everything comes from within you, isn't it? You're trying to create an inner experience by managing the world. This is why all the disasters are happening. Why human beings are so insensitive to everything, why they're going about on a rampage. We call this development, we call this economy, we are on a rampage, all right? Why we are like this is, we are trying to extract an inner experience from an external manipulation. No, this is the first thing you must settle before you step out of this university. You must settle this one thing, that your experience of life is created by you. Now naturally you will see what is the best thing I can do in the world, and that's what you should do, what is most needed right now. If you are an empowered human being, so much investment has been made on you in the name of school, university, education, all this stuff, when so much has been invested on you, you must see what is most needed right now. And of course, whether you have competence to do that specific activity or something else, that judgment is always there. But not the question of what… my passion means, I like to do this, I don't care whether it's needed or not, I just like to do this. This is a vested interest, isn't it?
Well, anyway, I'm just gonna pause it right here. So they have some pretty interesting questions, but again, it's kind of… I guess the knowledge that they know in terms of how Sadhguru means certain things, this is something that I lacked very much when I started listening to Sadhguru, because when you say it comes from within and all that, it's like yes, but it's not, because it's the lack of deeper understanding on that meaning. Like yeah, so obviously I feel the joy inside, I feel the happiness, the sadness, the turmoil, the suffering, all inside, but it's caused by external things. It's not that the fact that you actually have absolute control over that, because you know what caused suffering to you may not cause suffering to someone, so that clearly that it's not this one thing that causes suffering to you, it's not universal to everyone. So it's something internal within you that's causing that. And that's where the lack of understanding, I guess, whenever he goes to these speeches, I just don't know whether they know that or not, and especially a lot of the other things that Sadhguru talks about. So I'm just going to pause right here. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, the sound down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.